Turns it over. Robinson slams it home. Frogs by
4. They say there's no such thing as a quiet night in college basketball.
Pittsburgh now. Kevin Brown, Corey Alexander standing by. Great to be with Debbie Antonelli and Dennis Scott here tonight. What a scene this is, huh?
While most of the world was just trying to get through the midweek slump, some of the best teams in the country were fighting for their lives and keeping us fans extremely entertained.
Blackwell with a big answer.
But then you've got to match up and you've got to find the shooter for Wisconsin. You cannot gift a player as good as John Blackwell a look like that.
All on a completely random Tuesday night.
As Walker's out of control, and here comes Wisconsin. Down 6 at the half. Blackwell gives them the lead.
A game slate with little to no hype around it gave us court storms, major upsets,
That was clinical from David Mirkovic.
and ultimately, a glimpse into this year's madness.
Why not? Timeout, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's hit 15 threes. This is Blackwell with 5. Blackwell tries and connects. Humrickhouse, they're running out of time. Humrickhouse keeps them alive. 6.3, there are no timeouts.
College basketball
Wagler,
has never
he's been the superstar.
been better. We're going to begin our walkthrough of this Tuesday in Fort Worth, where number 5 Iowa State looked like they were about to cruise to their 6th consecutive win. TCU, on the other hand, a team firmly on the bubble who could massively benefit from a statement win of this pedigree. This game begins for TCU exactly how they would have hoped going into it. They managed to do what most are not able to do against this Iowa State team, and they make it a dogfight where there's no quick, fiery scoring from the Iowa State side. Neither offense in this game was really able to ever get into much of a rhythm. Both teams shot roughly 40% from the field. And to farther drive home this narrative that this game was an ugly one, the Cyclones had 15 turnovers in this game, 5 more than they averaged on the season, which was just slightly more than the 13 turnovers from TCU. But so what, right? Big whoop. TCU starts this game off as most underdogs do. They come out tense with a chip on their shoulder and they want to shock the world. The thing is, you're going to need more than some adrenaline to beat the number 5 ranked team in the country. This is an Iowa State team who this far in the season has posted a top 10 offense in the country and the majority of people firmly believe to be a national championship contender. And naturally, as we can see here throughout these clips, Iowa State's going to pull away as the game progresses. But that isn't the script that this game follows. Rather, TCU was able to claw away at the Cyclone lead before the end of the second half, and largely off the efforts of backup shooting guard Tanner Tolson, who went for 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist. They managed to stay competitive and even gain a lead with just 6 minutes remaining.
We're tied at 49.
The game was now dwindling down to its final minutes, and while it was never out of reach for TCU, it seemed apparent to those watching that Iowa State was finally going to close the doors on this upset. TCU, however, had other plans.
On the shot clock. Three-pointer. Pierre.
But I'm in my new whip. Same old attitude. But I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me.
Robinson slams it home. Frogs by 4.
TCU does exactly what the underdog aspires to do. They shock the world. This game proved to have major implications as the win bumped the Horned Frogs to a last 4-in team in March.
Win with us.
Yeah, we the best.
Or watch us win.
We the best.
It's all shifts. It's all categories.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Let's go.
As the insanity of college basketball season prolongs and fans get invested in the now, it becomes easy to forget what a team was supposed to be. For these two teams, this could not have been any different, yet here we are. Nebraska was projected to finish 14th in the Big Ten coming into the season. However, after jumping out to a 20-0 start, they were able to change that narrative and land a top 10 ranking in the AP poll, and they even managed to climb to top 5 in some power rankings. Purdue, on the other hand, was the AP poll #1 ranked team going into the season and the hands-on betting favorite to win the national championship. This game was all Purdue early, thanks to key guards Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith. And this game was beginning to look just as we would have imagined it if we were predicting it at the start of the season. But college basketball is a fast-changing scene, and despite going down by as much as 22 points in this game, Nebraska was not ready to throw in the towel quite yet.
Jacobson in the corner. Better pass. Sanford. Nice move. It goes to Mast. Waits for traffic to clear. It's Hoiberg for three. Here they come. It's a 5-point game in Lincoln.
The Huskers go on a rampage to eliminate the lead off the back of players like Price Sanford, who scored 15 second-half points. And with 5 minutes left, the Cornhuskers at home had all the momentum.
It's a 4-point game.
Nebraska manages to successfully claw their way back into this from down 22, and thanks to some clutch shots down the stretch in regulation, they eventually take it into overtime. This game went back and forth in overtime with both teams knocking down shots. Ultimately, however, Purdue was simply overbearing and won the fundamentals. They were relentless on the glass, doing nothing short of manhandling the Huskers all night long down below, resulting in a massive rebounding disparity. And with 5 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Oscar Clough.
Lawyer in the paint. Finding Clough inside. Count it. And the foul. Clough to the line with Purdue on top.
And how about a shout out to this absolute fucking lumberjack? Oscar Clough was hustling all night on the boards and showed up in a huge way when the Boilermakers needed him most. Purdue escapes this one 80-77, but if I had to guess, Matt Painter's hair probably turned even grayer after this one. Over in the ACC, we witnessed fear come to fruition in Coral Gables. The post-Duke hangover was in full swing.
Into Dixon. Boozer switches onto him. Dixon the kick. Trimble! Got it! And Carolina wins it!
Number 11 North Carolina traveled to Miami coming off the biggest win of their season against their biggest rival, and frankly, they kinda just looked flat. The Tar Heels didn't play particularly poor, they were just a little out of rhythm, and it would be the 18 personal fouls, as well as poor shooting from the field that would ultimately put the nail in their coffin. To be completely transparent though, both of these teams couldn't shoot for shit in this game. North Carolina went 29.6% from the three, making just 8 of 27 attempts, and the Canes put up an even worse shooting performance, going just 3 of 13, or 23% from beyond the arc. However, I'm not here to make excuses for the Tar Heels and not give Miami their deserved flowers. They never trailed in this game at any point, and they also outscored Carolina 46-28 in the paint, which came mostly on a steady diet of lobs to Ernest Uday Jr.
Defense really causing issues. There's a lob and a flush. Miami players now a lob and a dunk by Uday. Look at Young on the bench. It's just like this.
Come on, lock in.
Barely got it. There he got the rebound and the three-point trip.
I just want to take a moment to break this play down. Players like Ernest Uday make March so much fun. He's going to go ahead and apply pressure to the right side of the ball handler here, forcing the play inside to the man that he intentionally left open. He jumps back real quick, gets that steal, immediately runs in transition, calls for the lob, and then yams that shit. Now, UNC did stay fairly competitive this game, and they certainly tried to make it interesting late, but the Canes were not willing to give this one up. 75-66, Miami gets it done. And yes, the Miami fans, of course, did exactly what you'd expect, and they stormed the court. A massive statement win for a Miami team that, despite a solid record, was fighting for its tournament life. Let's go ahead and break down these two teams as we jump into it here. These teams both come into this game hot. FSU has won 4 of their last 5, and Virginia 8 of their last 9. These teams are both in a bit of a weird spot with their seasons. Florida State on one hand comes in at 11 and 12, which in every case, other than for some reason the Auburn Tigers, is not going to garner you very much respect. Virginia, on the other hand, posts a great record of 20 and 3, yet still gets almost zero national respect as a serious contender in March, and a loss against the Seminoles would certainly not gain them any brownie points. This game goes back and forth for pretty much the entirety of the first half, with the largest lead being 7 points by Florida State. With 8 minutes left, they're up 9 points, and it looks like they are going to upset the Cavaliers. But if this slate has taught us anything, it's never that easy.
Paul gives it up. White rises, knocks it down.
And while that may be the case, with 6 minutes left, the Seminoles hold a 7-point lead and just need to remain efficient to close this one out and leave a stain on Virginia's tournament resume. But in typical college basketball fashion, the miraculous happens. Over the next couple of clips, I want you to do me a favor and pay attention to Florida State's score.
Here's to Ritter. Rattles it. There goes White. Just rising up. And the Cavaliers take the lead. Take a look at this last.
Now, if you've been paying attention to the score like I so kindly asked, you probably noticed Florida State hasn't scored in 5 minutes, and Virginia is most definitely taking advantage. Truly unbelievable stuff. Virginia does what Virginia has managed to do all season. They clamp down and turn the game into a grind. The Seminoles went ice cold, missing their final 11 shots. Jakari White, an Orlando native returning to his home state, showed no fidelity as he went absolutely nuclear with 19 points, including a go-ahead dunk with a minute left. Virginia ends on an 11-0 run to win 61-58. We're moving on to what was, in my opinion, the most entertaining game of the slate. Unfortunately, I only have 2.5 minutes of footage to show for this game, so while I break this one down, be sure to pay attention to the pure cinema that was this game. Projected 3-seed Illinois is looking for a bounce-back win after a narrow 3-point loss to Michigan State. Meanwhile, Wisconsin is on the hunt for a statement win and resume booster for March. Neither team could miss in this one. It was a back-and-forth game the entire way. Wisconsin guards John Blackwell and Nicholas Boyd lit it up all night long, going for a combined 49 points. For Illinois, it was star guard and projected 7th pick in the NBA draft, Keaton Wagler, keeping them competitive every step of the way, totaling 34 points in 44 minutes.
Experience inside. You can get some things at the rim. Good shot fake though from Mirkovic.
That was clinical from David Mirkovic. Wagler. Why not? Timeout, Wisconsin.
These teams both battled to no end, both taking sizable leads at different times, but it would ultimately go to overtime to decide a winner.
Wisconsin's hit 15 threes. This is Blackwell with 5. Blackwell tries and connects. It's at 8. Nick Boyd attacks so quick, hanging. That is magnificent. Here's Wagler with 34. Humberkaus, they're running out of time. Humberkaus keeps them alive. 6.3, there are no timeouts. Wagler, he's been the superstar. Wagler for the win. Wisconsin has won in Champaign.
Despite incredible effort, ultimately it is Wisconsin who comes out victorious, massively strengthening their tournament resume and bumping them all the way to a projected 6th seed in March. So allow me to recap this year and remind you that all on a seemingly random Tuesday, we witnessed the Wisconsin Badgers pull off the upset for a signature win. The Duke hangover come to fruition, allowing Miami to get a massive resume booster and pull off the upset that caused a court storm. FSU go ice cold, allowing this Virginia team to sneak back and make an incredible comeback to negate the upset. A battle of titans in the Big Ten, where Purdue nearly choked a 22-point lead in a thriller that the Boilermakers would ultimately pull out in overtime. And TCU put themselves on the map as a bubble team in March Madness with a shocking upset over number 5 Iowa State, which also, of course, caused a court storm. If this does not prove to you the absolute insanity and peak entertainment value that college basketball has to offer, I don't know what will. Slate brings up some questions that fans must answer. Is Purdue still amongst the title favorites with this win, or are they destined for another March shock?
Makes them both. 8 seconds left. Smith drives. Blocked from behind with 1.5 on the clock. The lob, and that will do it. Do you believe it?
Is Miami for real, and do you think they could replicate a similar run to what they had in 2023?
Gutsy performance. It's the biggest win in Hurricane Hoops history.
Let me know in the comments, hit that subscribe button for more of everything we love in sports, and be sure to let me know what I should cover next. Thank you for watching.